Red?
It's on this
Yep.
one? All right. This is the Tilton Northfield Fire District Commissioners meeting. It is Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. We are in the Tilton Town Hall downstairs meeting room. Those present include the commissioners, the chief and deputy chiefs, Kathy, Helen, and Kevin from the public. Thank you all for being here. Public comment, members of the district, employees. Anything from the public? Helen, Kevin?
I'd like to wait till later if it doesn't blow your schedule.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on. Correspondence. Do we? I guess most of the stuff is in business, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Let's move to the chief's report unless anybody else has any specific correspondence, which I'm not sure that I do. So, chief's report.
Okay. It was a fairly long chief's report. I'm still trying to figure out how to write it. Again, I'm not going to keep this format, but it might take me a couple months to come into my own. There's three things I want to point out, and I'll ask questions afterwards. So incident reports, like we've talked about before, the whole federal government changed from NIFRS to NERIS. What that means for us is hopefully we're going to get better data in the future, but we don't know what that data is going to look like. That transition happened on January 1st, so your packet with the incident responses, overlapping calls, that kind of stuff, this is the last time it's going to look like that. It may look like that again, but we have to get all new data points. So it pulls the data points from the NIFRS. So NIFRS has went away, so there's all new data points in NERIS. Now we might be able to get all that data right from NERIS instead of getting it from our records management system. We haven't really figured that out yet. The state, we get a free records management system. We use the free one through the state. It saves us a tremendous amount of money, but it takes them a little bit to get things going. Evie with the state has been wonderful during this transition. It was a ton of work on our end and a lot more work on her end. So next month, this will probably be the last month that the incident reports look like they do. I don't know what they're going to look like next month. I don't know if I'm going to have them next month. If I don't have them, I will have at least raw data in some, so you can have that to look at. So just that going forward for the NERIS.
So you're not sure whether they'll have the report available on time for our meeting?
Correct. And then the reports we run are our Tilton Northfield reports. The state helps us build those, but they're specific to us. I don't know if we're going to need those specific reports or not. Our data, so we have a records management system that we type in, and then our data goes into that records management system. That's where we get these current reports. A month or two later, they used to go to NIFRS, and then 6 months later, they would be available on NIFRS. With NERIS, we're still going to put them in the records management system. However, within 5 to 10 days, it's going to be in NERIS right on the federal government's website, and they're going to have data reports for us. I've been told, haven't seen them yet, but I've been told there'll be instant heat mapping available, time of day calls, overlapping call reports. That's instantly done through the federal database that is called NERIS. So we have our own records management system in the federal database. We've never pulled reports from the federal database before because the information's so old that it, so cross fingers it works like they tell me it's going to work. I'm cautiously optimistic about it, but I really don't know what that's going to look like. We just made like I said, midnight on January 1st was the transition from NERIS. Apparatus, I just want to point out, we've come to a verbal agreement with Harbor Enterprises to act as kind of a first line of defense on our apparatus. We didn't really have that previously. We've had Lakes Region Fire Apparatus. They're in Tamworth. For me to call them, they're great. They come. We just had a problem the other day, actually. They were driving up the highway and they stopped. But to have Dwayne available to come and at least diagnose the problem. He might not be able to fix it. He might not be able, but he can lead us in the right direction. We had a coolant hole. I had the discussion with him, and then the very next day we had a coolant line break. He was able to come to, it's something that we couldn't as firefighters repair. He was able to come down, say, oh, no, here's the coolant line break. He cut it, repaired it, got that truck back in service in an hour. It was a Friday, midday Friday. Typically that would have put that truck out of service till Monday. On top of him being responsive and in town, his rates are much cheaper than Lakes Region Fire Apparatus. So some things he can fix, some things he can't. But we're using Harbor Enterprises as that first line of defense for apparatus.
And he doesn't sand and salt.
He doesn't sand and salt. No, no, not anymore. He's done doing
I was getting ready to call him for me, because mine's a skating rink. And I went, oh, okay, so there's that.
We had to call 4 people before we could
Yeah,
get somebody.
yeah.
But, and then the third thing is the sand and salt. As you know, I attended the Northfield Selectmen's meeting on last Tuesday. Was it Helen? I think I was sitting next to Helen. They've agreed to come to some sort of agreement to treat the Park Street station, the paved sections, after the storms. They're immediately going to start doing it. We're going to have to come up with some agreement that's going to have to be signed by both boards for an intermunicipal agreement. Primex wanted that, but they've agreed to start doing it immediately, and they're going to work on their end getting that agreement together.
So they don't need anything from us at the moment?
At the moment, they don't need anything from us. So it was great. I also gave them an update on some building projects and other things going on in the fire department, and told them I'm probably going to be coming quarterly. And I'm going to be starting next Thursday, attending the Tilton Selectmen's meetings quarterly, just to give them a chief's update on what's going on. So I'm going to try to meet with each board quarterly, if they have any questions for me.
They looking for compensation?
They brought that up. It was not. It was discussed a little bit. They did ask me how much Dwayne charged. Dwayne donated his materials. He just charged us call pay over the years, so it was a very good deal for us. I don't know if that is going to be the same going forward. We'll work with that when we get that agreement.
The conversation I had with him, he'd like to do it for his call day.
No. Oh, are you talking? I'm sorry.
No, the town.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The town plow.
Talking Dwayne. All right.
Yeah. So, yeah. So the town there may be a fee in there, probably for materials. I don't know. We haven't got that far yet. But
Okay.
when I realized Dwayne didn't have a sander, it was right after that ice storm. I didn't realize it until then, and so I made some phone calls, and it was tough. My fourth phone call is Jeremy Perkins. Jeremy Perkins was there within 5 minutes of me calling.
Right, like you said, yeah. I mean, we can get out of the hole and get into this over the summer, and
Yeah.
I mean, so Tilton Northfield used to trade off at the library and the Pines. We used to take turns. So I mean, now is not the time, but future we can throw the net out and see if the two towns will support Park Street.
I mean, it's all, we're all together. It should
Yeah,
be-
I mean,
Should be a matter of,
like I said, they took turns on the Pines and the library. So I mean, if it's your year to do blah blah blah, then it's, or hey, you guys are on the same parking lot over there. Then, what's it? Hit the blast button a couple times. But hey, get out of the hole for the season.
Yeah.
And it's been a weird one.
Yeah.
With the rain and.
And they've always been good. I've been able to call Adam, the DPW director, I believe is this title.
Adam Dow, yeah.
I've been able to call Adam before when we were in a pickle, and he always helps us out when we're in a pickle. Yeah.
He's an old DOT guy.
So those 3 things I wanted to point out but the Zolan Chief's report, I don't know if you have any questions other than that on here. Sure you do.
Other than it's a little long, but you're gonna.
So, I'm still trying to figure out how much information you guys want on here and how much you just want to be fed throughout the month, and that's a.
Some of these things seem to have been dragging for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, I want a top 5, bottom 5. What are the hot items seasonally, or what are the things we need to talk about or act on? What are your midterm and your long term? For me, I mean that's. But I feel like I've been staring at wallpaper for the same since I got here. And it's not on you. That's prior administration. But
Yeah.
I'd like to see some movement. I'd like to see some action items. I'd like to see things in progress, and I'd like to see some things closed out. And then we get on to what's the next thing. But I can't look at stuff that's over a year old that doesn't And like I said, it's not in your watch, but
Yeah.
there's things that you can give an update on, and there's things that are,
So yeah, that's like.
come to the end of the rainbow, and
Do you need an update on the website every month?
good God, no.
Okay.
Not me, but I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
if it was, it would be hey, these are some things that are not yet closed that,
yeah.
I mean, you're still, you gotta, sling some arrows, and you gotta talk to people and stuff like the .gov conversion and stuff like that. I mean,
That's done and gone. That's
yeah,
where-
right. But I mean, as an example, there's things that are
You don't
not-
need a reg. So okay. So I'll try to.
Yeah,
like you need to know that we didn't use hydrants. If we have a fire, I can tell you about it.
Yeah, no, I mean that.
Yeah.
To me, that's in the middle of the.
I think a lot of this information is still valid, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
Here's the important stuff that needs to be covered this month. Maybe here's a wrap up of those things that we talked about last month. If there's a
what's the red, yellow, green? I mean, that's.
Yeah. And I don't like this format, like I said, but it's going to take me some time to change the format.
Right. What's killing you that we need to get involved in? What are you okay with? And then the rest is, not the end of the world. I don't know.
Okay.
Can you talk a little bit about the Merrimack County Sheriff and the tower?
Yes. So I found out more information on that today. I had a long good conversation with Delvis from Allcom. So I guess I'll start on our radio system. The only thing left, and hopefully in 2 to 3 weeks it'll be done from the grant, left to be done, is the grant added a receiver site at the estate, which we used the other day. From my driveway in Laconia, I was able to talk to him at Wyman Gordon, on our local channel, which was awesome. And he said,
Clearer than dispatch.
yeah, so it really,
Through that.
mhm.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
from my command car to his, because it was a weird call, I pulled out, they went in under control, I came back, but then they called for help again, and so I left again.
Yeah.
So I called from my driveway to talk to him, and we were able, he was, I don't know where you were, but you were.
I was actually at the Shell station across the street.
Yeah.
And we,
That's cool.
clear as day without using lake streets and channels.
I mean, that's the vision, right? I mean,
Yeah. So that portion is done, that portion is operational, up and running. That's the piece that goes into the Tilton PD, that the consolidated, we pay for that
the
link.
whole
that-
fiber
Mhm.
thing.
That whole fire. So that portion is done. There was another portion that basically did the same thing at the Park Street station. Because of all that tower stuff we have at the Park Street station, we still don't have a receiver. So there was a receiver in that grant.
Yeah.
They tried to get a line of sight from that. The original plan was to go from line of sight from the tower at Park Street to Shed Road on Spalding. But Shed Road Tower is kind of on the back side of that hill. They thought they couldn't get the line of sight. So they were able to get the line of sight at the Franklin water tower, where we have another receiver from the last grant.
Right.
So they had to spin the whole thing. They had to put something new on the Franklin water tower. I talked to Delvis today. That should be completed 2 to 3 weeks. Something broke from the last grant. They went to get it repaired. It couldn't be repaired. They replaced it for the company replaced it. We under no charge of our own,
Yeah.
under warranty. So they're waiting for that part to come in.
All right.
Well, to gets real technical what that part does. I don't want to
No,
speak to that.
that's
Yeah,
cool. I
but
mean-
that part. So they do have line of sight from that Franklin water tower. So hopefully in 2 to 3 weeks the whole system will be done. I've sent the last invoice in. Kathy, me and Kathy sent that in today because I had to resubmit that check. So we should be getting the reimbursement for that grant hopefully soon. It's my first time getting a reimbursement, but it sounds like I did everything right. So that should be done on that end. So the Merrimack County Sheriff, I talked to Delvis about that today. He does have some concerns. So Merrimack County Sheriff does 24-hour dispatch for Northfield PD now. They approached Chief Setar about putting an antenna on top of the tower at Park Street.
The cell tower.
Yeah, on top of the cell tower. And he said that should be okay. I got to talk to the commission, but then they never had another discussion about it. Merrimack County Sheriff approached me. They said they'd be looking to do it in about 6 months, but they wanted to start the conversation. I said, as long as that doesn't incur any cost to us. He said, nope. he had a number of 68,000. He said that is 100% on us.
Yeah.
And he said there was some opportunity to maybe share some costs for the shed down there and the electrical down there. I said that's something we can work out. However, Delvis has some concerns about it actually impeding our communications. So he said you need to make sure they do it right, and he would like to be involved because of the way. And I think that's a fair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the
I
whole-
don't want to impede our.
I'd rather the tower is there to help
The community.
rather than make money, you know? So, I mean, that's,
Because it would make sense. Tilton
I mean,
PD's
that's
already in that
academic
tower,
at this
so it would
point,
make
yeah,
sense for
right.
Northfield PD to be
yeah,
in that
because
tower.
we wanted the PD, we wanted the town sheds, and, you know, hey, if we could make a couple bucks and helps defer, but, you know, if anybody else can get on there and it works, you know, for emergency services,
That's the goal, right?
that's the end of the,
Yeah.
for me, that's the end of the
But
story.
obviously, whatever we need to do to make sure it doesn't interfere with anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said some big radio words that I did not understand when he was talking about the interference and how that interference would happen. And I'm going to leave that to the radio guys.
Well, if you pay those guys or they
Yeah.
are involved, I mean, that's,
All right, so nothing we need to decide. now.
Nothing we
Yeah.
need to decide now. I'm going to continue talking with Merrimack. But I think we're months away, 5 to 6 months away from worrying about that right now. I just wanted to update you that they approached us.
I was going to ask you about SB 245, but I see that's in the in old business. Donations. You listed the donations from that we received, but then you make the comment that you'd like to use them for maintenance and upgrades at the training building.
Yeah,
So describe what you're thinking.
So these are donations we get every year, and technically, like, if we get a donation, I can use it as the fire chief how I see fit. But I think the conversation needs to happen between the board and me. You know what we use these donations for. We've gotten this one from Tanger Outlets as long as I've worked here. They give us $1,000 every year. It typically goes to a training function. The 200 from the Econo Lodge is new. If you're looking at the training building from Park Street itself, there's a section of container that's 1 story high, and we'd like to put a roof, like a fake roof prop that we could cut with chainsaws. And we think that I believe the $1,200 with the materials we already have should cover that. So that's what I plan on using it for, but I wanted to discuss with you guys to make sure. You know, because it is a donation, it's a little different than the budget and stuff, and I wanted to, you know, if you guys had any other ideas or thoughts. But the thought was to use it to do that roof prop on that section of the training building.
is that your biggest need? I mean, is that the hole in the boat? For everything you're doing and everything you've got going on and everything to keep the guys safe and comfortable and everything else, I mean...
I personally like using this money for that training building
Okay.
continuously and keeping that building up, because that building does need maintenance, it
Yep.
does need upkeep, and that building is wonderful. It's awesome that us in Guilford are like the only ones in the up here in the Lakes region that have that kind of facility, and I'd like to just keep it nice, and I'd like to keep these donations keep going into that as like a funding source, just like we do with the fire prevention budget that funds our fire prevention. I'd like the donations to go back into that training building.
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Do you
Is
have a
anything-
separate fund for that? I'm in the area, you.
There has never been a fund. It's been mostly donations over the years. It's never really come from district. I think 1 year, I might be misspeaking, we did have some money in the budget to do some work, but that whole building has been basically done with donations. And
Yeah. Got some guy's name hanging on the side of it for a while.
that plaque's still there. It's just on the inside.
Some Manning guy.
Well, I'm not opposed to that. If that's, you think it's the best use of the money.
Yeah.
Do we as commissioners, should we be writing thank you notes to these folks?
So I wrote a thank you note, handwritten. I wrote I hand-signed thank you note. I mailed it off, and also wrote a thank you email to the Tanger Outlets already. And I plan to do the same thing for the Econo Lodge.
Right, anything else on here that you have questions on?
No.
to note, and I know you've sent the emails on this, but the status of the budget for the end of the 2025 year. We were very concerned over the last month whether we would be able to come in within the budget.
Well, the year's over now, isn't it?
And it is.
There's still some couple bills out there, but
Skidding in sideways.
We're good.
yeah.
But I just wanted to note that we were able to come in within the budget and to commend the.
Don't say we, say he.
Well, I wanted to
She,
commend Kathy
they.
and Sean
Use your pronouns.
for making that possible.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
It was tough, but we did it, and and I
Yes.
think I've said it to you guys in the emails, but my goal was to not use that contingency fund.
Yeah,
That is for
I-
true emergencies.
Yep.
That's for when our boiler blows up, or we need a new roof and we don't know about it. I wanted to come in without using that. We were able to come in without using that. So it was very close, but we were able to do it. So, and the guys, sacrificed some stuff at
Right,
the end, but
right.
we're through it, so it's good.
All right, anything else on budget or police report?
No, it
Paul?
was-
All right, let's move on to old business.
Oh boy.
All right, first item, building design update.
I have in the back of your packet is the well, I guess I don't know if you want to talk about this stuff now or at the warrant, and that's up to you, I guess.
I guess let's talk about it now because it's on the agenda for right now. So you saw the emails and they're attached here. So back in the beginning of January, Sean, taking the information from our last meeting, sent this request for a thought process and a conversation over how would we rework the current proposal, and have them relook at that with removing a few things and like a couple bays up at the Sanborn Road, maybe some room sizes, moving all the garage bays to one side of the building so there'd be less pavement. We made a number of suggestions, and then down at Park Street, leaving the current building there and then just building the admin living space next to it, and eliminating some of the decon space out of the current design because there's already the decon equipment's already installed in the current station and a few things like that. And the request was if we were to have them rework this, what would that look like in scope as far as what the charge would be on their end that would cost, so that we would have a number to put into the warrant to ask for the continuation. And then the second, sorry, I got ahead of myself a little bit there, and then also a second one, which was not a complete design study, but a overview of what we could do at Center Street, how feasible it would be to put a small station there, and what they would think that would cost to design and engineer to come, and what we'd be looking at is for a price, so we could compare that to what the rework of the original proposal was. So that's sort of the information that we sent to Lorero, asking them, hey, this is where we're at, what we're thinking, what are your thoughts? And then we met with them in a Zoom call and sort of answered their questions and talked about it a little bit, and they came back with, and you've seen that letter as well, the design for the two stations, what they think it would cost to re-engineer those, as well as the Center Street, along with some engineering pricing from one of the engineering companies to look at the Center Street site. Is that sort of, what
Yep.
else would you add to that?
Just I sent the, I guess that was a good explanation. I could sit here and talk all night, so I don't wanna.
The concerning part to me was, if you go to page 7 of 3, somehow their numbering system doesn't work.
Yeah.
They give you a fee structure based on that conversation, I guess I walked away from the conversations, they're gonna re-engineer everything, and go back out to all their subs and ask for all the pricing, and so you see, you know, they quoted us $212,000.
Well. Go ahead.
How much have we paid him so far?
I just want to. I didn't send this in the email, and Tim, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the $43,000 for Center Street. After the discussion, we're going to be paying $43,000 for them to tell us not to build at Center Street. I mean, I want to.
I cannot get my head around that
Yeah,
at all, Sean.
I can't, in good conscience, ask you guys to spend that much money on that building after discussions. I don't. That's just my feeling. Yeah, I'm the one who I would love to be there, but
Yeah,
we're going to spend $43,000 for us to tell them not to build that.
for a bad thing.
Yeah,
You know, and when we were over at Park Street and the guys came out and expressed it, was it Park Street? The guys had a strong opinion about not supporting either either Sanborn or Park, and came back pretty hard at us with Sam doing something at Center. That was a tough night for me to get from the floor.
I think
That they weren't cool with either. And
I
they-
think as a single station,
Right,
as
but
a two station, they're not against it, but as a single station, they're not for either location.
right, yeah. But the message that I got that night is that what was on the table and what we were proposing did not meet the vote of the guys, and and their momentum was to explore Center Street. So in my gut, I didn't feel that was the thing, and now that I've got numbers in front of me, that doesn't help.
No.
You know, and
And I kind of, I've been at this for a while before being a commissioner, and I try to, get the voice of the community and the guys on the trucks, and this was just a weird fork in the road for me. So when the numbers came out, I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So.
And I think one of the differences between the way that this whole project has been handled as compared to how other projects have evolved is they're doing complete engineering up front as compared to coming up with we feel that you could build a building that we've laid out a floor plan and figured out the program, and it'll be this much square feet, and we think it'll fit on that property, and we think you could do it for this amount of money, and that's what we go to the town with. And the warrant asks for that amount of money, which includes all the engineering, and all that's going to be put out to bid. And we're
Right.
doing all the engineering up front and paying for it. And if every time you make a change,
Click.
you're paying for it all again.
But correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, when we had those public meetings, that it was 21 million. That was kind of a question mark that we didn't have all the engineering. It wasn't done, and that we were going to have to spend more money to bring it off of the not to exceed number, right? Because they only used one sub for every trade, and didn't use 3 to 5 on every trade. So in their narrative, it was, well, we kind of threw, we started, once we get further into it and we put it out to 3 to 5 contractors in every trade, so they did some engineering, but now I think the discussion we left off is that we had to spend some money for final engineering to, what's it look like? What's this really cost? Who's the best guys on it? And, kind of right down to the salt and pepper shakers and the whole thing of, right? Because we had a not to exceed, and we had to somehow come in under that, and I think that's our next swing at it, but I don't know.
I just have a real hard time going back to the district and saying, hey, we want another,
$200,000.
Well, or if you take Center Street out, it's 155,000.
Yeah. For buildings that will be more expensive next year than they were this year. If inflation continues to. It's killing me.
So Kevin's over there dying to say something, and so is Helen.
Yeah, well,
I think I can't speak for you guys, but I'm sort of feeling like at a point where I'm not sure how to move forward.
right.
Because even if you spend all that money and all right, so you come up with a slightly different solution that's going to be 15 million, I still don't think that's going to pass.
Well, there'll be plenty of people that want to tell us, you have to decide. It's on you. They won't tell us what to decide. They'll tell us we have to decide, or it's on our lap, but they won't tell us what they think. They'll just tell us it's our responsibility. That's the thing. That from the public it was, well, you guys need to figure it out, but they won't tell us what to figure out, or to what number to figure it out. Everybody's got an opinion, but they leave off the answer to the question.
We want Ritz Carlton's at a
No.
Walmart
Oh
price.
God! If somebody uses the word Taj Mahal with us, I've heard that with the PD. I mean, but I still built.
Just so I got my head on straight. So they're quoting you what work they have to do to give you a not to exceed number for building the building, but not the number for.
Well, they've given us a not to exceed for the buildings that they currently.
Right, but
Okay.
this engineering activity that they'd have to do is to also develop that number again.
Because we made changes.
Okay.
So if they were to, so what we asked for was, all right, let's relook at Park Street. Don't tear down the current building.
Yeah.
We'll just do the other half next to it, and maybe use some less costly building, like instead of having cement block interior walls, we'll do sheetrock. And how can we lower the cost?
Okay.
And we're going to remove some rooms. We're going to remove the decon, medical storage, the storeroom on the front. So we're going to remove a couple rooms,
Make the training room smaller.
Yeah.
Make the offices smaller.
and then that would allow them to maybe reshape the building and lower costs out of the roof line or whatever. And then up at Sanborn Road, same thing. Let's look at that more as a substation, and we're going to have 5 or 6 bays down there. Do we need 6 up here?
Okay.
And so I thought it was a relatively simple request. Obviously, I'm not in this business, but no, they came back and looked like they're going to re-engineer the.
But you haven't. You've said some things, but you don't have a concept scheme yet. I mean, don't you want to do that first, and not do all of the engineering before you agree on the concept?
I think at
That's
this point,
my problem.
I think at this point, Helen, I think it's kind of a two-prong. I mean, we got the footprint, and so, Lorero, I think, asked one vendor of each trade to say, here's a building, and this is kind of what it looks like. No electrician, or one electrician looked and said, yeah, I could probably do that for whatever. And so they took that, rather than having 3 to 5 electricians go in and say, well, what's the actual inside look like? What's the skeleton of this thing? They haven't, because it hasn't been designed. There's a very rough, idea. The plumbers, one plumber looked at it and went, okay, I can do this. But they didn't get 3 to 5 plumbers to go and look at how many
I
linear
understand
feet
no
of pipe,
competitive
how much
bidding.
drain, how much cold, hot.
I
Right?
get that.
Yeah.
What I'm concerned about is that you're going to go through another design phase. You spent $100,000 already last year, I believe, roughly, to get that done. And
The first year was 100,000, and then it was another.
100,000,
Yeah.
I think. So
Yeah.
you're going to go back to the citizens of Tilton and Northfield and ask them for another 150,000. I mean, that's going to be a tough sell,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's if it gives you the situation that you have now with this building, where you don't get a realistic number because you don't have competitive bidding going on, what good does that do?
Can we get off the 21 million and go to 18 or 17 or 16? Well, for 100,000 or 150, yeah. I think I would spend that money to come.
But I would come down below 15
Yeah.
for that money. I mean, I think if you tighten
Yep.
it up,
Yep.
like you say you're going to, I think, building a much smaller substation and treating
Nobody
it as a
knows. He's
substation.
giggling. So I mean, I don't walk in that space anymore, and I did. It's
I could tell you just from the substation aspect, the deputy chief and I met with Tom from Lorero Construction down at the Hudson Fire Station. They have a fire station down on Lowell Road in Hudson. It was significantly smaller than what we proposed at Sanborn Road, and it would well meet our needs for a long time.
And how much did that building cost?
In 2000, they finished in 2019, and they came in at what was the 2.9?
2.9.
2.9.
So double it now today, say it's $5 million.
But we,
Would
again,
you be happy with that?
that station, yeah, as a substation, it wouldn't, there's no office.
As a substation.
Oh, yes.
So there, $5 million, that's the number. Okay. Then you have another number for over here for building that addition, right? So what percentage of that, and you'd have to figure that out, but what percentage of that is reasonable to go to the town and say, I need a design build money again because we're going to come in under 10 or under 12 or something. And in order to do that, we have to engineer it. I'm just throwing it out there.
I think Park Street is the bigger change if we're gonna not blow down the garage and just put something near it. I think the original plan was knock down everything and build
Yeah.
brand new everything. And that, if that's the edit, right, is to have headquarters and future housing next to the existing structure. Totally different story. Whole new world, really.
But does that take half of the cost out from that project, or 60%?
Yeah.
Is it still 60%?
No, I know.
of what?
It's coming up with the money to do the work is the issue now, because I can see the town coming back and saying, well, you've done this to us 2 years in a row now, and you still don't have a solution.
Well, we've been
I don't
doing it
know,
longer
Kevin,
than
what do you
that.
think?
It's been
Yeah.
more
I'm
than 2
gonna
years.
toss
How
it
many
over
building
to
projects
Dan.
have we had?
Paying a lot more than 2.
And, if we're getting close, we have money in the building fund, but we're seeking the feel of the public and the voting body, because we can expend
The building.
out of the building fund
How much do we have in the building?
900,000.
I think we paid that final bill, 850, Kathy.
Yeah, so, but I think if we're all trying to get buy-in from two towns and the district and move in on something, and
So
we've
why
had
don't you
public
just add
hearings.
to the building fund and then use that money to address this situation? Then you don't really have to go to the town with it.
Shouldn't, but a couple of years ago, the seated board raised and appropriated $100,000, and they didn't do anything with it. It lapsed.
Okay.
So, and that was on the budget committee where we said, well, wait a minute, well, hold on, we gotta pull that out of the unexpended or the unassigned fund balance, put that back in, because they wanted to reappropriate another 100,000. Well, you didn't spend the last, so we're all trying to work a little harder, smarter, faster, better,
Yeah,
and
okay.
bring everybody together. But so when we did raise and appropriate last couple of years, it was a non-lapsing expenditure. So we can either raise and appropriate, or we can go to the building fund. But I think it's a good conversation to have. And we had public hearing or public meetings, not hearings, but and then we got to get to the town meeting and go, listen, we got to figure this out. And not just have people throw up their hands and go, no.
Right.
Any thoughts?
Kevin's thinking hard.
It's
You're
your
back.
turn, it's your time.
You're back to 2 buildings.
That's what we're currently discussing, I mean.
I don't see anything wrong with it given the scenario that they're talking about. I think that's
They
a
should know what they're
saleable
talking about.
concept.
They should know better than be talking about 2 buildings after you just flushed that plan down the toilet.
I didn't flush it, did you flush it?
Is it going to 26 meeting? Is it in the warrant for 21 million?
It's not in the it's not in the next meeting. But I would say, for me, one guy on the board, Center Street was never viable. And I was always been a proponent of something in Tilton, and then proposed a better version of Park Street. I think the original Park Street was probably a little too outrageous. Like, listen, the trucks are undercover, and that's cool. And what can we do next to it or with it that supports training, that supports administration, that supports the call company, that kind of brings a few things together without leveling a building that, shit, we spent $6,000 on doors that you installed. I don't want to throw that stuff out the
Good thing
window.
you hired me instead of the next guy that was 3,000 high on.
But I'm saying, it's like, we invest in these buildings, and and we had a meeting in there, and it wasn't the prettiest building, and the floor was not the best shape, but how can we still maintain, how can we grow the district in the next 30 to 50 years and not continue? Like, I went through this with the PD, right? And you guys are gonna go through this with your PD at some future point. Careful. We need a 50-year plan. We just have to be thinking that far out. And I didn't, for me, I just wasn't cool with what we had at Park Street, but I feel like if we can get something next to what's already there and supplement, and, because that's, to me, that's probably what, 6, 8, 10 years out. We don't know. It could be quicker than that, and the whole staffing thing and all that, but we got to continue to run the operation we run with a footprint somewhere in this locus of Center Street. I just, and having seen the numbers tonight, it kind of confirms what I've been fearing, that Center Street is not the end of the rainbow for us. So I don't,
Why will Center Street not work?
The biggest issue, I haven't brought it up, it's on the, sure, I'm sorry. you want
No,
me-
go ahead.
No,
Because-
I should, should.
No.
The biggest issue is, right now, is the building in front of us owns way more property than we thought. And if they ever wanted to prevent us from getting into that station, they could. And that's a problem. The
They're
second.
on the street?
Hmm?
They're on the street?
The street is only, from the front of the building, 25 feet. After that is their property. It is not the street anymore. So from our front door, not even the steps, 25 feet forward, that begins their property. And so from talking to Lorero, they were not, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but they were not optimistic about creating a viable building site, being able to dig into the road, put foundation in, create
Well,
parking.
and getting 3 doors across,
And
because
getting-
you wouldn't be able to maneuver into that
You
third
couldn't
door.
maneuver, you couldn't, even if we tucked all, they, just from, I'd have trouble asking the board to spend that much money to design a building when an architect tells me, and a design firm tells me that it's probably not possible because of what they see here.
2 floors, right?
Yeah, it'd be 2 floors.
Yeah.
6,600 square feet, which is probably too small anyway, but we could make it work. We
Yeah.
could cuddle
Yeah.
and make it work. but-
ADA, elevator.
Yeah, and then they talked about the railroad and having to coordinate with the railroad for any train that went by. You can't work in that area.
Staging areas for equipment, staging areas for materials, demolition. It's
Anything can be done for money, but
yeah.
how much money do you want to spend? In,
for money and good neighbors?
Yeah.
Neither of which are guaranteed.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Square peg, round hole. Not our.
I mean, if you were looking at locations around town to build a fire station, you wouldn't pick that one because it's too small.
Right.
The only thing it's going for is we already own it.
Right.
Other than that, you would never pick that location for, because of the.
No, that's,
So you're gonna go in 26 and ask for more design money.
That's the conversation we're having right now.
kind of fine tune, refine, and get better numbers rather than spaghetti on a wall. Because that's, I feel 21 million is what we got so far.
And whatever that amount of money is. Whether it's 10,000, 100, 200, whatever it is. You can use building fund money for that. And I think your agent's to expend, are you not?
We are.
Don't think for a minute that's the right way to do it. Do not go yanking $200,000 out of that account without the public knowing.
Well, and I think that's the whole spirit of the conversation, going to the voting body.
So I sit here, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I sit here thinking I heard, well, let's just do it.
I was.
That's not me.
I didn't say
No.
If you heard that from me, that was not what I meant.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I said it.
So,
My bigger concern is the dollar amount.
Yeah.
I didn't think that they were going to come back and say, "Oh, it'll be $156,000 to
I think-
rework this."
I think the dollar amount has a lot to do with who you got the dollar amount from, who has given us inflated prices since day one. $38,000 to put steel on the hose down. If I was the lone.
You were the
dissent-
lone vote against them,
I was, when they come before us, I
Yeah.
was a lone vote against them.
so here we are. And you're not letting up.
At every, why would I? At every turn,
Yeah.
they
I
have
wish-
given us prices
Yeah.
in the attic when we're talking about the basement.
I wish the 6 other people were here to
They're
refute.
not the only gig in town. And I really don't like the fact that they're in business, they have a reputation to maintain. Yet I think they admitted they were being driven by one person to go down a certain road. And they didn't stand and say, look, no, that's got my name on it, that's not the right thing to do. Which anyone in business who does something just, they should have been said, listen, you hired us because we're the people, or you think we're the people. I'm not leading you. We were led and we were paid. We were paid to be led. I think you should say to Loretta, thank you for what you did. You got enough.
And what would it cost to start from scratch with another firm?
Probably not more than what you're gonna pay them to tell you what.
Disagree on
Again.
that.
They weren't the only show in town when we.
Well, there was one of two, right? You went out to
It came-
five,
it came down
3
to
came
two.
back, 2 bid, and it was a coin toss
Three,
between 2.
I think we were told 3 were going to, and then 1 changed their mind.
Yeah. So it was a coin flip between 2 firms.
Is that how you remember it?
I read the minutes.
Oh, okay. So, now, relative to the building design, we sat at this table a lot of times, spent a lot of time in it, and we were told, we have to have X, Y, Z. We have to. Now, all of a sudden, we don't have to have decon. We don't have to have the same fitness room. We were told we had to have decon in both stations. Now, all of a sudden, hell, we don't need any more than we already got. That stuff,
We don't have decon now.
Well, we have decon.
Not,
Minimal, right?
yeah, and not to the positive pressure and all the things that
Yeah.
we're trying
Oh,
to do.
yeah.
Okay, just on the decon space, we're not saying we don't need decon space at Park Street. We're saying we're gonna use what we have there. So we have the SCBA washer there now, we have the extractor there now, we have the dryer there now, and if we have a substation, we'd be moving vehicles over there to add to that decon space. We have a decon shower down there now, so it's not that we don't need it, it's already there. It's not great, is it perfect? But
It's not.
yeah, but it's, and
No-
the,
Nothing has changed. We were told we had to have it.
Well, if we blew down that
Okay,
building,
but
we'd
that's
have to
going
have, we'd
back
still
to
have to have
the-
it.
Okay. You were told that you had to have it, that was a whole generation ago. Put it in the back. These guys have put their heads together and figured out what they can work with and what they can't, right? And they're trying to find out if that's really gonna cost less. That's all they're doing.
If we bulldoze that building, yeah, we'd have to have decon. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'd have to have a place for all that stuff. But with the 2.0, if we're gonna modify and build something next to what's there, now we can work with this and we can work with what's
And you don't
in
have to
the
have
garage.
a building over
that
here
has-
that's
that is
big
not
enough
being-
to house all of the
Yeah.
equipment.
If we're not gonna
Why are you
level that
building that?
garage, then that's a different conversation. And that's kind of,
But I think I hear what you're saying, Kevin. I mean, there was a lot of discussion going on with Lorero that the committee wasn't privy to.
right.
And a lot of things that were automatically decided that were decided by the others than the committee.
Well, having looked at the drawings, I don't feel like it's fantasy land on what's being looked at both locations.
Yeah. But I think one of the clear things is, and we went back and forth in this a lot, was like the bays up at Sanborn Road. Well, one of the reasons for having more than 4 bays was because we needed to house equipment if you tear down the current building. Well, if you don't tear down the current building, would it be nice to have 6 bays up there? Yeah, but do we need 6 bays? No.
50 years out, you never know. And bays are the cheapest thing. Garage space is the cheapest per square footage, and this guy told me so.
It's fat. Yeah, you can't
It's
deny
also
it.
easy.
Right.
It's easy to
that
add
is-
garage space later.
But
so.
that's a
And additions are cost 2 to 3 times more than the original.
Still,
So,
it's easy
yeah,
relative to building a whole building.
Let
in
somebody
one
else
spot.
pay for it.
yeah.
You know, in 50 years, I'm not gonna be here, so let somebody
Oh,
else
boy.
pay for it.
So the discussion at hand, I guess, is how do the commissioners want to move forward with some guidance on where to go with a building plan, because we need to come up with a dollar amount to put into the warrant if we want to move forward. And
Yep.
so that's when do we have to have the warrant finished? What's the date on that?
Last week.
This is your last meeting before the public hearing, so I would say tonight.
Hey, you got new shirts.
I got 2.
Jesus. I can afford that.
so I only got 2.
Did you get a white one?
No.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's where we're at.
Yep.
So what did they give you the price of 154 or whatever it was to design?
That was to redesign the current 2-building project with all those changes we discussed. Not tear down the current building, build next to it. Remove some of those rooms, remove some of those bays, and to utilize maybe a more value approach.
So where is headquarters?
It would still be at Park Street.
How many bays it? What's the number?
Sanborn Road. Yeah, we were saying 4 up there.
And there's no admin space there?
No. So it would be similar to what's up, what with the original plan, just removing 2 bays. I think we're shrinking the garage a little bit with some of those mechanical space, shop space.
Is that station ran 24/7?
will be, yeah, eventually.
In 20 years? Something.
Well, for now, because basically that's Center Street removed.
I mean, the
Would it
logis-
still be the plan to? Yeah, if you want to sample, I was gonna ask,
Yeah.
it's still the plan to trade the land,
Yeah,
which you don't know is gonna happen.
we don't know.
So, I can tell you, because I can see it, and I might even cause it. District meeting, you want more money to design a plan on land you don't even know you can get.
And that was a discussion we had last month. You know, the board has changed at the town of Tilton,
Well, we couldn't,
and
you know, if the town has it on their warrant to approve it and they don't, why, we would not expend the fund, as agents of the fund, I wouldn't write that check.
Well,
After that.
if, you know, I just thought of something else as well. Tilton Town meeting is Saturday, fire district's Monday.
Yeah.
So you'll know
We should know.
if the Tilton board puts it on the warrant.
Yeah.
Is Tilton board gonna do that?
I don't know that they're planning to put it on this year's warrant. My best understanding is they're not putting it on the warrant this year.
So that being the case, why would you do what you're doing? Because if your plan includes Sanborn Road, which is dependent upon the land swap, and the land swap don't happen,
We would certainly need to know what's going on in Park Street, because that's a bigger renovation and a bigger change, having a detached building and not blowing down a garage. So I think we would still need a warrant article for engineering over the course of the year to know what that piece of it would look like. And that would contain administration.
You know, I understand there's a lot of moving parts, and we're all the same community, and you know, the Tilton Select Board at the time was very enthusiastic about making that land swap happen because it was a win-win for Tilton, and the Tilton Northfield Fire District. Now, whether that's still their feeling and they want to bring it forward, I think if it certainly, if I as a taxpayer saw that you were going to present a $21 million building project, well, I wouldn't be in support of that, and so I wouldn't be in support of the town offering to do that swap.
it's the extended thought. If I don't like this fire station, you know, I'm sure as hell I'm not gonna support giving the land.
But if I'm the town of Tilton, isn't that annoying?
Yeah.
As hell.
If I'm the town of Tilton though, at the Tilton town meeting saying, hey, we want to, you know, enter in this arrangement with the fire district to do this land swap, but the fire district doesn't know what they're doing yet, well, I'm going to vote no for that as well. So, you know, you got to get all your ducks in a row and everybody sort of in agreement that we're moving in the right direction.
Everybody's waiting for everybody else to pull the trigger.
Right.
I do like the idea of not demolishing Park Street at all. The building beside it was one of the first things we talked about. That we were told it couldn't happen.
Oh, me too. I mean, when somebody came out of left field and thought that we would build a garage in the low ground and put everything else in the current structure and not take it down, that came out of left field. It was somebody from, guy lives in another town now. But his plan was that the existing garage would just be administration and housing and all that, and he'd put a garage closer to exit 19 and sight distance and bad, you know, like how you gonna, you know, blow out of there on, you know, on a call. That didn't sit well with me, and the original plan for, I didn't like throwing away that building. That's just me. So
Does it make sense for the commission to approach the Tilton Select Board and ask them to put it on the warrant contingent upon, so the deal would be contingent upon the approval of a construction project that's approved by the district? So that hurdle is at least cleared and we know what we're talking about district meeting?
of course, and if nothing else, they could put it on as advisory, like when we went to a whole Tilton Island thing. Like,
To get the
does Tilton want the island? Does Northview want to get rid of the island?
To get the sentiment of the body.
Right, exactly. I mean, those are those advisory things where we've had some over the years.
Or you make it
Yeah.
lapse in 5 years, or
Yeah.
whatever, contingent
Yep.
upon approval of
I
the
agree.
station project that the.
Couldn't agree more. Because everybody, like with the island, everybody was waiting for who's gonna.
Are we too far along to have that discussion with the, or is it too late to get stuff on the warrant?
You petition one. But, yeah.
I don't know if I'm already on the Tilton Selectmen agenda for the 22nd. Maybe Scott could add you guys too.
Yeah. I think that's where we gotta go. Because we really don't know where it all left off with the change in leadership, and John Scanlon moved, and I think they're running 4 people, and a couple people voted not to fill the seat.
Right, yeah.
It's
Two new
awkward.
people coming. And
Yeah, they're in a weird space. So
So do we want to go to the Tilton Select?
I can't wait.
All right.
You want to try for the
Let's
22nd?
see if they'll have us.
All right.
So we'd be here +1.
Plus,
+3.
so we go back to, do we put that dollar amount in the warrant? Do we put a different dollar amount in the warrant? Do we?
Well, I would, for me, I'd back off the Center Street piece of it. I just don't get it. And I think that's good money to bad. I just, we spent less to get the same answer, right?
Well, we already spent $10,000 having them look at it once, right? It was 10 grand.
9,000.
9-ish, yeah.
Pieces of paper that contain 99% public information.
I wanted it to work. I did, and then seeing this bringing, because I didn't let, what was presented to them on that $9,000 one was not. I could have told you it wasn't feasible.
Yeah.
I thought we could have gone small and feasible after having the discussions with Lorero, seeing this draft. I understand, and it's just not. I really wanted it to work, and I don't think it. The more discussions you have, the more roadblocks that come up, and I just don't think. I don't think it's a feasible plan, especially to ask you to spend that much money on a plan that obviously is doomed to fail.
And the survey was one of those up in the air things since I've been on. We never really got a straight answer on the boundaries and even for something as simple as paving and parking spots and what's the town gonna give versus that whole parking problem was.
Which is still there. You got multiple owners.
And now and all of a sudden you get more data and now the lines are in bold and. That to me is probably the worst investment of any engineering.
All right. So
For what we could do somewhere. But you want to go to the prep school? Just kidding. I saw that.
Maybe on public.
I wonder if they could break it down, what it would cost for engineering down there and engineering up here.
I don't think they did that, but
Why are they going to start from scratch
well, that was my.
at Sanborn Road?
They shouldn't. It should be just a couple
It
of
should cost nowhere near that much money.
couple
That's what I'm saying.
of cut, paste, delete.
These people aren't your friends. They're starting over. They're going to do something they already have the information on that we've already paid for. They're going to charge you again for the same information.
And we're not obligated to go with them.
Right.
You know, we could put money in the warrant for design engineering fees, and we can put it out to bid and get somebody
sure.
else.
Yeah, let's start over.
Well, you own the drawings.
Do we?
You should, you paid for them.
I hope so.
So you could
I
at
was,
least take those to wherever you go.
Like to think
Yeah, we
so.
have, well, we have engineering reports.
We have them all.
You know, we could provide those. I don't know, how big of a deal is it to change vendors?
I don't
You
think
just,
it's
if you put it out, you do it.
Yeah, just
Same
take
way
it
we,
out.
the same way we came up with the 5 that went to 4, that went to 3, that went to 2.
Right.
We chased some of them away with a meeting and telling them the truth about the infighting. Who, that scared 2.5 of them away right now. But you gotta be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you shouldn't have told them, 'cause we did the right thing. And I don't remember the name of the other company
So we can find it.
was on board when we hired Lorero. I'm getting pretty good at saying, remember I couldn't say that
I
word?
know.
Lorero. So the same thing again,
Right.
but if
I think I was flabbergasted by the number. I was
Yeah.
sitting there going,
paying for the same thing twice, they already,
You wanna
they
get a
already
brand,
have the information and you own the information.
I mean, I could redraw it and take their dollar per square foot and do that.
I mean, if a brand new company can do it for less than 150K with what we have, fine. But if it's going to be 300 to kick the door in with a new vendor, well, there you go.
Well, I was kind of surprised because we had the conversation with Tom down there and said, hey, what if we said Hudson's perfect? That's what we want.
Cut paste.
Yeah,
Give me one of those.
exactly. You know, would that save money, so far as the engineering cost? And I don't know if I ever even got a response.
I don't think we
from-
got it straight. I mean, in my request to them, this is my request I sent to Lorero, and I specifically referenced the Hudson Station, and I said I see it, and
Did they do the
Would that work?
station?
That station's
Tom, who
work
works for
on-
Lorero, did it, but he worked for a different
Oh, yeah.
company at the time.
So you have to go back to the other company
Same
to
with
get
Same one,
plans.
yeah. If you
It's an
think
option, you
Hudson
can
will
work
work
with two firms.
on Sanborn Road, Hudson has those plans.
Yeah.
You guys are all in the same business. You hey, Chief Jimmy from Hudson. How much? can
Oh,
I
I've
have?
seen them, but they're not mine.
No, they're
I-
not. They're not yours. But
Yeah.
you could obtain them, even if you had to buy them, because they have value.
And then they fit it to the parcel and make sure the elevations are good and pipes and whatever, and then that's it. It should be minor.
If we know in our head that that will work, that they're not gonna have to chop half off because this is sloped the wrong way.
Yeah.
If you could borrow Donald Trump's helicopter, pick that building up and set it on Sanborn Road, would it work? If the answer to that question is yes, you ought to be chasing those plans, not paying them $154 grand for the second time for the same information. I mean, it just seems
It does.
so clear. And the best thing you can tell the public is, look what we almost did, but look what we got. We almost spent 150 grand by the same information twice, but hey, we bought these plans.
All right, which goes back to the question. For a dollar amount, to put in the warrant. Because the warrant's not specifying who we're paying the money to,
Yeah.
and
And
it should be non-lapsing, and
in a not to exceed. If it only costs us 50 grand and if we approved more than that, then so be it.
How it worked with this one was, we didn't get the money until after, at the end of the year, and then we requested the exact amount that we expended,
Right.
and that's all they transferred. And Melinda doesn't know what to do.
we're talking about new work, new scope, right?
So the warrant needs to have a dollar amount and then our recommendation whether we wanna raise it through taxation or pull it out of the land and building fund. So the question is, what's the dollar amount?
Well, backing out the Center Street piece of it,
$154,000 and change.
do that, we don't know who, I'm, it doesn't matter who does what, where, you know, whether it's these guys or we get another firm, but we need to have some mobility. And I don't wanna write a check for $154,000, but I want that latitude of, if these guys are the worst case scenario, we could probably we could shop it around and do better than that and not expend it. Do the taxpayers trust our judgment, or do they wanna kick our teeth in and say no, you know, and then we just, as agents of the fund, go expend as, you know. I'd like to think that we're building a relationship with the towns here and that we're really trying to follow all courses of possibility. Yeah, I mean, this is the worst case scenario, and I don't like this.
Right.
Those numbers don't add up.
No, they don't.
Those numbers don't add up.
No.
I didn't
No.
even check that.
No. I mean, the individual numbers you're talking about may be right, it's just the total, when you put them all together, that they've given us is not accurate.
That doesn't give me a warm fuzzy.
Okay, so
They're-
they
they're-
add up to 197,684, and their total is 212,254.
I just looked at the top one.
Yeah.
Who did that, man?
Lorero.
Is the geotech's in there, right? 'Cause
Yes.
they have the separate, the geotech, yeah, 12
The
cents.
feasibility and the geotech are both
Okay.
there. And those three numbers do not add up.
I'm gonna add a fourth and see what it does. Nope, a fourth doesn't even get it there, so.
How much was the difference?
Oh,
Oh, well, hold on.
15 grand,
197,684 is the number.
yeah.
It's $14,570 is the difference.
We could get another 11,009 over here.
Yeah, that's not the same. No, that's what I added that 11 just to see.
Nope.
Did they mark up that number?
He did say there was a 3% markup on that number.
197,684.
That doesn't make up the difference.
If I did 197,684.
No, not at all. That only brings it to 203,15.
Yeah. I apologize for that.
No.
Didn't think to check their math. Probably I will next time.
Well, I guess I would move that we put $155,000 in the warrant article for, what's the terminology, design build services,
And a not to exceed. I
not
mean,
to
I don't
exceed, non-lapsing,
Yeah.
and I'll stop there if somebody wants to second that. And I would make that money come out of the building fund.
I'd second that.
So $155,000.
Yeah, we may have to tweak the word.
I'll figure it out.
Any additional discussion?
We don't know what we're up against between now and March. We're trying to make a decision now. And we're trying to be conservative, and I our spirit of the board is to be as careful as we can, and conscious, dollar conscious as we can, so.
Alright, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? All those abstaining? Alright, so we have 2, 4, and 1 abstention. Which moves us into the
Warrant.
warrant, which we were just discussing.
I'm kind of sort of about it.
Did you hand that out?
I did. You all have a copy.
I got it here.
Run.
Have a trip.
It's not good to hold it though.
No.
What is this one? Okay, so what I'm looking for tonight, what we need to do is, you need to either recommend or not recommend each warrant article. And Article 4, I will put in the $155,000. Now that you've made a decision.
Now, can we update the verbiage?
It says the special warrant article will be non-lapsing.
Said funds to come from the,
Yes. That will be added.
well, we don't have to recommend Article 1. And we don't have to recommend Article 2.
Yes, you do.
Do we?
Yes.
There's no,
You either recommend or not recommend.
even on 1 and 2?
Warrant Article 2 is the operating budget.
Oh, okay. I was looking at 1 and then,
Warrant Article 1 is the only one you don't have to do.
wow. Make a motion, we recommend Article 2 as written. We've been through that.
Yeah.
Now, that is a little less than what you guys voted on, what the commissioners voted.
Yep, that's the budget committee's number.
That's the budget
Yeah.
committee's number.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you guys are recommending the budget committee's number?
I'm okay with that.
What's the dollar amount difference?
The commissioners was $2,365,446, and the budget committee was $378,517.
No.
3.
3.
3 million.
Yeah.
I'll take the 2 now.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, wrong line.
Second.
Sorry, wrong line.
I'm sure everybody would.
So 3921095 versus 3934064.
Alright, I'll second that.
It's a $12,969 difference.
Alright, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, so they are
Make a motion, we recommend Article 3, 287,003 for the apparatus and equipment budget.
A second.
A motion made and seconded. Any additional discussion? Alright, Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This is the commissioner's recommended number.
Does it seem low? That's the right number, right?
That is the right number, yes. Yes, because the commissioners was $287,003, and the budget committee was $286,459. That's the apparatus and equipment budget that goes before the voters.
That's the commissioners.
Yes.
All right, you've got a motion made and seconded, or, no, we already did that.
I've got a motion and a second.
All right, any additional discussion?
We voted this.
What?
We voted this already.
We did, okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, because we voted one at the last meeting. All right,
Whatever you wanna do.
all right.
Engineering.
All right, so you're gonna rework the,
Yes.
include the dollar amount in there?
The dollar amount is
Not to exceed.
$155,000, and then it will be non-lapsing,
It's already in there,
right? And it has to have a date on there, so December 31st, 2030, is that okay, or do you want me to bump it up?
Well, we're not reason appropriating if we're taking it out of the building
Yeah,
fund.
you're gonna have to change
Right.
that first
It's a-
line.
It's got nothing to do with lapsing.
Right,
If we're just gonna,
you still have to raise and appropriate it
Oh,
out of the fund,
out of the fund.
but even if we don't spend it, it stays
It
in that
stays
fund.
in the fund.
It doesn't it doesn't
Right.
go to the unassigned fund balance.
So that will be reworded to
Yeah.
reflect that.
We've already voted on the dollar amount, do we need to vote on this warrant article?
You have to recommend it.
Okay, I vote that we, I move that we recommend Article 4 as recommended by the commissioners.
Second that. That's at 155.
Yes.
Any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. So does the budget committee need to meet again?
They are meeting again, yes,
They gotta come
They
in
have to.
behind us and
Right.
recommend or not recommend.
When is that?
the 26th. And that's cutting it really close. Because the public hearing is February 2nd, 3rd?
sounds right, the
Yeah.
Monday, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I've got it in my calendar.
I have second on mine.
Yes, the 2nd.
All right, moving right along. Article 5.
Do you want to keep that article, or
I would. I don't think it's gonna go too far, but
Well, that's what we talked about last time, leaving it in there.
yeah.
All right. I'll make a motion that the commissioners are recommending Article 5.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. How come this doesn't have the updated dollar amount for the
Oh.
subvention?
I can put that in.
This is
Because we just-
13,440.
We just did it.
That's the number I found. I never cleared that with you.
I can tell you,
Should be right in the budget.
yes.
Well, that's how much money we collected last
Right,
year.
that's
Yeah.
what I said.
13,439.75, so whatever, 13,4 something. The amount,
$13,400.
$13,439.75. But do you wanna just do a round number? Like 13,440 or 13,439 or,
13,440.
Okay. Second.
how much?
One, 13,040.
13,440.
Yeah, 13,
13,440.
yeah, 140.
All right, good. 13,440, and that was Paul that made the motion.
Do we have a motion?
Yes,
We good?
Paul did it.
Okay,
Paul.
Paul, right.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We didn't already do this one?
7.
Yeah.
Shit, we're gonna spend the money we brought in. Son of a gun.
You did vote on that number last meeting,
I know.
but you didn't.
Yeah.
I did get a final number if you, we didn't have exact numbers. The fund balance, as of November 2nd, is 67,452. We expended, 18,611, 13,440 expected, so the estimated balance going into the district meeting will be 62,281. Does that make sense?
The prior expenditure was what, the trainer?
Most of it was the trainer. The trainer was almost 14,000.
Right.
Yeah.
I do have that figure, if you want.
Which one?
The fire prevention.
It's in here,
16,598.
No, what, the
The balance?
balance.
Yeah, we'll need that at the meeting.
Yeah.
You could be sure.
$49,488.73.
That's before we put the money back in, right?
Correct.
Yes, before.
Alright, I move for Article 7, that the fire prevention budget that the commissioners recommend.
Second.
Motion made second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Tower time.
That's half of the amount collected.
Correct.
And that's the actual number, $10,996.
It is.
Right, I move Article 8, add to the communications tower ETF fund. ETF.
Expendable trust fund.
You're moving to recommend?
I'm moving to recommend. Is there a second so we can have discussion?
I'll second.
So as that fund was written, half of it goes into, or as the original warrant to collect funds off the tower, half of it goes into this fund for communications equipment, and the other half stays in the general fund to reduce taxes. So we generated $22,000 off the tower last year.
That's what, this is just half of it, right?
Right.
Right.
Is there any word from the owner-operator of any additional customers?
I have not heard, and I wanted to talk to Delvis before I reached us. So Delvis and we had that long conversation today. So in the next, end of this week or beginning of next week, that's my next phone call to, I'm really getting a grasp of what's going on in this radio system. So, but I have not heard anything from him yet.
All right, any additional discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Article 9, add to the health insurance deductible funds in the amount of $261. I move that the
That's it?
commissioners recommend.
Yes.
I know. Because the changes in the,
Right.
yeah.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? It is pretty interesting, it's that low.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Alright, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I make a motion to recommend Article 10 for the contingency fund at 37,105.
How come that dollar amount's not 39,000?
This is last year's budget, previous year.
Oh,
It's always 1% year previous, yeah.
Yes.
alright, alright. Alright, we have a motion made and seconded, any other questions? Comments? Nothing's changed there. Alright, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. End of that. Alright, ready to move on?
Yes, please.
Alright, SB 245, contract update.
So I don't have too much. I just want to actually, in the essence of time, as you guys know, I've attended multiple meetings, had multiple phone calls, multiple emails. The contract is currently out to DTC for review. I've already sent it out to Primex for review. Primex came back with their review. I hope next meeting I will have some contracts to go over with you and get permission to sign, but I'm not going to sign them until at least next meeting. In my chief's report, I said I had 2. Now I have 4. I think I got a 5th one while we're in this meeting. So there's 7 total contracts we're going to need to sign. But it is very murky, muddy, unclear. Every fire chief in the state is kind of can't wrap his head around. Long story short, they made this this contract without Primex in the room and without the fire chiefs in the room. So it was the insurance commission and the insurance companies made this contract.
Of course.
But if we don't sign it, we only get we get 100% of Medicare. If we do sign it, we get 325% of Medicare. So it is a substantial increase in money. Again, it's only on about 20% of our calls.
Right.
Because it doesn't affect anything Medicaid, Medicare, TRICARE, or self-pay. It only affects those 7 insurance companies for people who live in state. Out-of-state insurance companies, it still doesn't affect.
Right.
So it's about 20% of our billing. But it's 225% extra on that 20% of billing. So it's important that we get it done. We just got to get across the finish line. Every fire chief in the state is so we have that another big meeting in Laconia on the 25th or something like that. So, any questions on it? Really,
So every fire department has to get
all 7.
all 7.
And if you just sign the standard contract, you don't have to do negotiation. You can just pencil with it. But there's stuff in there that Primex didn't like, and I'm sure there's going to be some stuff that DTC doesn't like, and so we're going to have to decide if we take that liability on. Where our insurance company doesn't like something, do we still sign it? You know, and that's a discussion we'll have in February.
Yeah.
I hope to have more clarity from Primex too. I found some stuff out today about the insurance rates that I got to figure out. Primex is stating that we have a 1 million, 2 million on the insurance they're talking about. I had a discussion with the fire chief in San Bernardino today. He said Primex told him he has 2 million, 10 million. So I got to figure out what this still stuff. So I could bore you with all that other stuff, but I'll have a lot more hopefully in February on that.
Alright, thank you. Any other questions on that? Alright, Center Street lot lines.
Again, I sent that draft report out. I was gonna discuss parking tonight. I think we could discuss parking in the spring. There's snow on the ground. We can't draw any lines. We can't do anything like that. I have a recommendation to remove 1 parking spot, but we can discuss that in the spring when it comes up, unless you guys want to discuss it tonight. Just for the essence of time, I think, in May, we can have a good discussion, because we do own like 2.5 more parking spaces left, so that, it's 2.5, 2.5, 2.5 more than we thought. I don't want to take all those from the town, but I want to make it so people don't have to drive behind the firehouse. I think I have a plan that removes 2 parking spots instead of 4, like we originally talked about. But we can talk about that in May when the snow melts. I think is a good time for that, unless you wanna.
No, we can, maybe we should have the discussion at the fire station.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be nice to walk it during the daylight.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, thank you. Make sure that gets put on the agenda
Yes.
for another time. All right, new business.
We don't have any.
Do we have any new business?
When this was done, we didn't.
Jason, anything? Paul? Okay, let's move on then. Review of minutes, 11:24. You should have all those in your packet.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a long way. I'll just see myself tripping right away here.
I'll move the minutes of 11/24/2025 to the floor for discussion and approval. Motion's been made and seconded. I have a concern on page 3, second paragraph. Last sentence. Made the suggestion on how to accomplish this by having the Sanborn Road station and the Center Street station, but noting that the Center Street station should be renovated. I'm not sure exactly if that's correct wording. No questions need, just the most project stated after reading through these sessions are no sign things that should be reduced. Maybe session how to accomplish this by having that's just not that doesn't make sense. I would suggest we just make that, he made suggestions on how to accomplish this and just add the sentence. Okay. Any other corrections on that? Page 3.
Yeah, I got that last sentence, second paragraph, last sentence.
Right, just
End sentence.
And, on how to accomplish this period. Just delete everything else after that. Discussion ensued. It's just how to accomplish this period. Discussion ensued.
So I make a motion to approve the November 24th minutes as amended.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. December 1st. I move the minutes of 12/1/25 to the floor for discussion. I've got several.
Second.
This was the swearing in ceremony, and do you have that ready? I just want you the paragraph, second to the bottom paragraph on page 1 where it says Kevin thanked Chief Sean. I think we should say Kevin LaChapelle, retired Franklin Fire Chief, or at least list who he is.
Let me. All right, so this is the first.
Correct.
All right, so where are you?
Paragraph that starts with Kevin thanked Chief Sean.
Okay,
Well, if you want to go in that paragraph that he remised about reminisced.
I hadn't gotten to the second sentence.
Well, I try to run ahead when I can. 'Cause
Well, I understand.
sometimes I have one leg, sometimes I got two.
Right, Mackenzie didn't know who he was, but anyway, yeah.
Okay, so what you wanted to say, it should say Kevin LaChapelle, retired Franklin Fire Chief, thanked Chief Sean Bellavini for everything, and
And then the second sentence.
Well, was he the chief yet?
I don't know.
No.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah.
All right.
he
Okay,
was.
I couldn't remember.
Yes, it was.
All right.
And then, yeah, he
Details.
Oh, reminisced.
reminisces.
He revised.
Revised, yes. And then in the next paragraph, it says the town administrator of Tilton.
Let's throw a Scott Hilliard in there.
Can we? Yeah.
Can we
put
throw
his
him a
name
bone?
in there?
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Right.
Select man plural.
How about select board?
Board. That's fine. It's all.
You have to be politically correct, sorry.
You're talking to the wrong guy.
I know.
Board.
Okay. Anything else on this one?
Yeah, and then if you go down to Kevin Waldron, I'm not sure what that's supposed to say. It says Kevin Waldron asked about passing forward the change in the stations.
I have no idea.
No.
Listen, Kevin.
What are you looking at me for?
I don't know. Because he doesn't know what he's talking about.
He didn't remember what he had for lunch.
You're right. What does it say?
It says Kevin Waldron asked about passing forward the change in the stations.
And Commissioner Sattler stated that was going to be discussed on next Tuesday's meeting.
So I think it's just a verbiage.
It is.
Maybe it's supposed to be moving forward.
Yeah, I think that would be correct.
It's about moving forward.
It's irrelevant.
How about we just say moving forward in the stations,
With the station.
with the stations?
Mm.
That's probably what you meant, Kevin.
I'm glad you knew.
It's probably what you said.
I'm sure that you didn't say it this way.
Yeah, I don't even know what I said in the next paragraph, so. So there.
All right, that's all I had on that.
Let's book it.
All
Make a
right.
motion to approve December 1st as aggressively amended.
All right, motion been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, lost that. All right, I move the minutes of the December 9th, 2025 meeting to the floor for discussion.
Second.
All right, motion been made and seconded. Bottom of the second page, old business, building committee. I don't think it's not clear. Commissioner Wright commented on the mixed messaging saying that the committee had been disbanded. Commissioner Sattler agreed. Agreed that there was mixed messages.
Yeah, that's about it.
The committee had not been officially disbanded.
Okay. Well, that's why I brought it up.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that should say Commissioner Sattler agreed.
But confirm that the committee had not been disbanded.
Right.
I'm waiting for it to open.
Okay.
All right, so, let's
Old business.
get there.
First sentence.
Commissioner Wright commented on the mixed messages saying the committee had disbanded. Okay, Commissioner Sattler agreed on the mixed messages.
On the mixed messages, but that the committee hadn't been disbanded, which brings us up to, discussion about disbanding or not that committee, creating a new one or not, which I think will be part of a discussion for next meeting. I have another correction farther down on that.
Okay,
Like 3-4 paragraphs down, Commissioner Sattler's takeaway was that the building committee provided what they were asked to do, but that everyone thought that it was too much money. He also stated that the select board has changed since having the original conversation. Commissioner Sattler explained that the select board was originally enthusiastic.
with the IC.
Well, that's not spelled right, but
I
about
know.
having one building and getting the other property for parking, and now has this new concept of the building on Center Street. That is just very convoluted.
Yeah.
And what it should say is that the select board was originally enthusiastic about building on Sanborn Road with a land swap for Center Street. I'm gonna get rid of the rest of this.
Extensive discussion ensued. Well, that's true. That's always accurate.
Yeah,
That's us.
I know it's difficult, sometimes, it ends up being like a complete description of everything that was said as compared to minutes, which are more of a summary. Right, good with that?
Right, I'm good with that.
Right, any other corrections? I don't have any other ones.
This one is- I would make a motion to approve December 9th as amended.
I'll second it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. I move that we accept the minutes of the non-public session of December 9th, 2025.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion, corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Do we have manifest? Yes,
Yes,
we do, right there.
yes, it's horrible.
Piles.
Piles.
Well, we haven't met for a month.
Oh. You never
And I
mind.
did one at the end of 2025 and then another one today.
Double.
Yes.
All right, well, we have manifest and we have non-public.
Little this, little that. Any public?
Any public? I'm fine.
Any public?
Nope, I'm fine.
Well,
Wait
thank
till the
you.
next meeting, see
Thank
what
you
happens.
so much for coming, Ellen.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Kevin, any?
What's the board's position on the fire investigator position?
Well, we voted at the last meeting to include that money in the budget coming out of the
Fire
Fire
prevention.
Prevention Fund.
What is the direct benefit to the taxpayer?
I guess I'll defer to Sean to maybe help.
The direct benefit to the RSA 154 states that we need to investigate any fires that happen in town. Now, a basic investigation can be done by a company officer or myself or Greg, but if we have a larger structure fire, we don't have the scientific knowledge, background, training to do that investigation. Now, if there's a death or arson suspected, I can call in the state fire marshal, but other than those two situations, we don't. So sometimes we wouldn't know if arson, how do we consider this arson? That's why I asked for it to come out out of the fire prevention fund. It's not directly affecting taxes, and you'll be able to investigate those fires. We do have a responsibility to find why the fire happened. A lot of times we don't, and we don't have that training and knowledge. It's not a new position. I wanted to clarify that. It's paying to send one of our firefighters that we have now, and if this passes at district meeting, that firefighter, we would post the position, the 16 firefighters on the floor, or the 4 captains, 12 firefighters would have the opportunity to apply for that. So it would be somebody we already have in-house. There is no stipend plan for it. There is no added step. There is overtime for the training and overtime for the class and the payment for the class. And then some small amount of overtime to come back in when we do have fires. Do we have a fire every week? We do not. But we do have 6 to 7 fires a year that we need to truly investigate. We just had 2 a couple weeks ago in the same week. I can say, yes, it started in the area of the wood stove, but I don't have that scientific knowledge and background to say the wood stove caused this. Do I know the wood stove caused it? Yes, but there has to be a scientific reason behind that. There has to be an investigative reason. We do not have the training to say that happened. And so I think for the taxpayers, to go all the way back to the direct benefit of the taxpayers, if you have a building fire in your house, I think you have the right to understand why that building fire happened. And I think having this position will help. And I've asked it to come out of the Fire Prevention Trust Fund because it comes out of the fees that we charge for that fire prevention activities. And that fund is there to further the fire prevention in this community. Like 2 years ago, last year we bought the fire prevention trainer. A couple of years ago we bought something else big, I can't remember what it was, but it's always fire prevention related. And I think that's why I'm asking for it to come out of that fund and not from tax dollars, from direct tax dollars. I understand that money is the taxpayers' money, and I do understand that, but it doesn't affect the tax rate. It's coming in from those fees. And that fund was created to further fire prevention in the community. And that's
So Sean, if you had to look back over last year and how many fires that we had that you would have investigated, any sense for how many hours of time that would be, and that time would be, how would that time impact wages?
So the wages paid for that investigation would come out of that Fire Prevention Trust Fund also. I would say we probably had 6 fires that needed to be investigated last year, and we do our best. I come in, or the captain comes in, and we do an investigation, but it's not a true investigation like somebody who had the training and that background to do. I would say probably 2 to 3 hours on a small or everyday average, like that fire we had up on Cross Mill Road the other day. That burnt out trailer, that would probably take him 2 to 3 hours to do that report, and then those funds would come out of that fire prevention fund. So 6 fires a year. I mean, I don't want to tell you next year we're going to have 6 fires. We could have 12. We could have 2. I don't know. But I would say on average, probably 6 fires a year that we need to truly investigate. 2 to 3 hours on an average one, a bigger fire. If we ever had something down on Main Street, that would be a much bigger investigation.
But how would you handle that if our investigator was currently working that shift?
We'd find that investigation doesn't have to start that second. You could come in an hour later, so we could arrange for somebody to cover that investigator, so they don't have to go back out on calls, and they could start their investigation there. Does that make sense? Did that answer that?
Yeah, but would we be paying overtime first?
That overtime would be when we when we do a fire prevention activity. When somebody comes in, it's coded differently, and so when I have somebody come in for fire extinguisher training, that is coded as FD overtime. Does that make sense? So it comes out of that line. So the person covering that investigator, so that investigator could go, that would be FD overtime.
And you're not it's not creating a position or hiring a person, you're just credentialing somebody appropriately to do.
Correct.
Right, and then the
It's
payroll is just to cover the backfill.
Yeah. And the class it's an expensive class.
Oh, yeah.
And they have to, it's a hard class to get into. They run it once a year at the New Hampshire Fire Academy.
How much is the cost?
Do I have that here? Did I break that up?
I think I heard last time when you first mentioned it was like $600.
Yeah.
With the overtime I built in for coming in for fires, the overtime for the class itself, and the class itself together, all total $7,295.
And all that money is going to come from the fire prevention
Trust fund, correct.
And any money paid to someone to investigate a fire also comes out of that?
That would be my, I mean,
But you then bring someone in on overtime to cover that person if he's on shift. So
Well,
everything related to this position is overtime.
one or the other. If the guy's on, if the person's on shift, they're just getting straight time. But they gotta
Right,
pay
but
somebody to
someone's coming in
backfill.
on overtime.
Right, to fill if they're on, if they happen to be on